I love, you guys know this, I am a draftnik. I'm all in on the NFL draft. We are now 8 days away from the first round of the NFL draft. I've been breaking down all the different drama surrounding the decisions that are out there to be made by the respective NFL teams. And one of the decisions that's going to have to be made is at the wide receiver position, because there are a bevy of wide receivers in this draft that we feel comfortable are going to be first rounders. In fact, I am looking right now at the latest numbers from FanDuel as it pertains to where guys are going to get drafted and who's going to be the first draft pick at the position. And I'm going to unpack this a little bit more in the third hour, but Ja'Marr Chase is now a massive favorite to be the first wide receiver taken in this draft. I think it's likely that he's either going to go to Cincinnati Bengals, depending on what the Bengals do. Are they going to go offensive tackle with Penei Sewell, or are they going to go wide receiver with Joe Burrow's old teammate in Ja'Marr Chase? Ja'Marr Chase all the way out to minus 950. This matters, by the way, for the Dolphins at 6, because I think there's a strong likelihood that if the Bengals go with their expected pick, which I think is Penei Sewell, if they do that, then I think Ja'Marr Chase is going to end up with the Dolphins. But how are these guys going to pan out, and what does the data tell us about this? Okay, Ja'Marr Chase, big favorite to be the first wide receiver off the board, followed by Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, both Alabama wide receivers. And then you've got Rashad Bateman, who is way back down further on this list, Kadarius Toney, Terrence Marshall Jr., Rondell Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Tylan Wallace. Those are the guys that are projected to be first and second round picks in the NFL draft this year. Now, what is interesting about this is historically, there has been virtually no difference in the last 5 years between the guys that go in the first round and the guys that go in the second round. So, is Ja'Marr Chase, for instance, going to be wildly better than throwing it out Rondell Moore, or a guy that is sort of moving up the draft boards in a fairly substantial way? I think Elijah Moore, wide receiver slot guy out of Ole Miss. There are, I think, a lot of really intriguing storylines to follow here when it comes to the best possible picks at wide receiver. And what I would ask you is this. We know that Joe Burrow and Tua need offensive help, right? The question for the Bengals is, do you go offensive tackle or do you go wide receiver? And also, if you are the Dolphins, do you end up making the choice to go with Ja'Marr Chase if he is there at 6, or could the Dolphins be interested in trading back again because there may be somebody interested in coming up and grabbing Trey Lance? Given how many talented wide receivers there are in this draft, could it make more sense to trade back if you are in the wide receiver market? Let some of these other teams rush up to go after quarterbacks and other position players and go ahead and go back and draft and get the same quality of player. That's what the data might well suggest. Basically, we've reached the era, at least over the last 5 years we have, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 drafts, 6 years. Which would you pick? These are the best first-round wide receivers. Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Corey Davis, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Brown, Odell Beckham Jr. Those are roughly the 8 best wide receivers drafted in the first round. What about the second round? Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, Deebo Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jarvis Landry. I don't know about you. I'd rather have the second round wide receivers over the last 6 years of the draft at wide receiver than I would the first rounders. Is that going to be the case this year? I don't know, but I think it's something worth keeping in the back of your mind. Ja'Marr Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle seem to be considered to be on a completely different level than every other wide receiver in the NFL. But historically, over the last 5-6 years, you've been just as good trading back and taking wide receivers later in the second round than you have been taking them right off the top in the first round.